So what do you do when you have a prodigal son or daughter? What does the scripture tell us? What's some advice we can take from this message? And I want to give you some, and because it can feel like a hopeless situation. So let's take a look at the prodigal son, the prodigal story in Luke 15 and verse 11. And he said a certain man had two sons. Now you can interpret that how you want to. You could say a man had two daughters, or a man had a son and a daughter, or how, gender doesn't matter in this issue. When it comes to prodigals, gender does not matter. Okay, Luke 15 and verse 12. And the younger of them said to his father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided them his living. So why did the son want his inheritance, which was probably a large sum of money? Well, Luke 15 verse 13 tells us why. And not many days after the younger son gathered all together, he took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. Now you want to circle that word riotous living. So I want to go back to the definition of what a prodigal is when we talk about riotous living. Okay, I want my inheritance. Why do I want my inheritance? To live like a fool. Okay, compulsive spending, rebellion, not interested in advice or instructions from anyone, especially the parents, promiscuous living, sex, drugs, alcohol, totally self-absorbed, self-centered, wild living, reckless living, debauchery, sensual pleasure, irresponsible, basically stupidity. Okay, that's what we're dealing with. Now here's where it gets interesting. I mean very, very interesting. And that is the father's response. Again we read, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me, and he divided unto them his living. In other words, the father didn't hem and haw. The father didn't say, no, I'm not going to do that. The father willfully said, here is your inheritance. Now, the father in this story represents God the Father. Don't let that slip by you. The father in this story, look, give me what I want, Lord. Give me my inheritance so I can live like a fool. God, I want to tell you something that I love and hate about God. Here it is. God will give us enough rope to hang ourselves. I love that about God because I want to do what I want to do. I don't want someone. I don't want those restrictions. I don't want someone stopping me from what I want to do. I hate this about God because it leads to a lot of pain and suffering in our lives, you see, when God gives us enough rope to hang ourselves. God has never stopped a chain smoker from smoking and getting emphysema or lung cancer. God has never stopped an alcoholic from destroying his liver. God has never stopped a couple in the back seat of the car from making love and bringing a child into the world that is not loved and not wanted. He's never stopped that. He's never stopped a drug addict from shooting up. He's never stopped a drunk driver from a head-on collision, from running into somebody totally drunk, can't even see, from causing a head-on collision. Like a bumper sticker I saw one time. It says, my son was killed by a drunk driver. It was the most painful bumper sticker I ever saw in my life. But my point is, God didn't stop it. God will give us enough rope to hang ourselves. We have got to understand we are free moral agencies. That is part of the gift. This is what we love about God. God has given us the freedom to choose the life that we live. And part in that choosing, we can choose bad or we can choose good. We can choose evil or we can choose righteousness. And God will give us enough rope to hang ourselves, okay?
Check us out on the web at isthatreallyinthebible.com.